Okay, so before I paint, I actually texture my base, and I use kitty litter as craft sand, and yes, clean kitty litter. And then I make sure my base is fully textured with the craft sand. I do this over a newspaper. Then I use some Loctite spray glue, and I use it, I don't saturate everything, but I do coat the craft sand as well as the tinfoil tree bark. And this adds an adhesive to the tinfoil so that the paints actually stick on it better. Now, Rust-Oleum paints really bond to metal, and so I use that brand. And you can see here that I base coat with black. It's a very dark black. And then I use a rusty brown to coat over that black. And I don't saturate the trees. I just quick bursts of the paint. I let some of the black show underneath. And this causes a real cool contrast effect. And I do the same for the top. You can already see the kind of woody texture that tinfoil resembles when you start painting it. And then I use London Gray. I really like this color. It's like a brownish gray, and from Rust-Oleum. And I paint one of my trees with this color. And again, short bursts so that you have some of the browns, the blacks, and the different colors showing. And here is my brown tree drying in the sun. So we're going to be taking this to the craft bench very soon. Okay, so here we are on my workbench, and the two trees that I started yesterday are fully painted now and ready to be decorated. Now these trees have no canopy. That's the way I'm keeping them, and that's because these are gaming trees for a jungle setup, and I'm just going to decorate with some vegetation, and that will really add some greenery and lushness to the trees. Now I used a multi-surface warm buff from Apple Barrel. This works fine for dry brushing, and I dry brushed that color onto the gray tree here primarily, and a little bit on this brown tree. Now I used for the brown tree a classic caramel, and that's most of the dry brushing on the brown tree. And then a little bit of really dark brown on the vines themselves to kind of differentiate them a little bit. And after this, I'm going to seal everything with some Mod Podge, or you can use spray varnish. But notice when you do your dry brushing, how that all the wrinkles in the tinfoil, how it really does look like wrinkled bark. And that's what I love about tinfoil. I really don't think you can get any other material to look like that, unless you're like a really good carver, right? And it's so easy. You just wrinkle it up, and those wrinkles take on very natural tree-like or bark-like shapes. And it's the same when you're doing rock. When you're doing rock, it works the same. You just paint it differently, and it has all of those rock-like textures. So for trees, I think this is excellent material. And of course, these are very sturdy. When you dry brush, you're passing your brush very lightly with the lighter paint, and that's what shows you if your project is really sturdy. All right, so I'm going to start decorating this, and I'm going to break this apart into parts, and I'm going to work a little bit on this and then show you the trees once I've added some vegetation.